threw out my cheating wife. Then her lover appeared at my door. Here's what happened. Be me, 38, marketing executive at major company, making good money, comfortable life. Story about my marriage falling apart. Not looking for advice, just need to share what happened. Met my wife Claire 8 years ago. She was 32 when everything went down. First saw her at this fancy men's clothing store. Won't name the place. They don't deserve to be part of this mess. But it's one of those high-end places. They remember your name if you're a regular. Started going there for work suits. Needed to look sharp for business meetings. Actually enjoyed the atmosphere too. Claire worked there as a sales associate. She was something else. Had this energy about her. Could light up any room just by walking in. Knew how to make everyone feel special. Not just good at sales. Her charm was infectious. Remembered every little detail. Like what tie I wore last time. Or the cufflinks I bought for meetings. Made everything feel personal. Like she actually cared. Started visiting more often. Not because I needed more clothes. Had plenty of suits already. Just wanted to see her. Would buy small things. Pocket squares. New socks. Anything to chat with her. Always ended up talking longer than planned. Finally got the courage to ask her out. She said yes. Everything just clicked after that. Claire told me about her background. Came from modest means. Always dreamed bigger. Wanted to travel. Have a beautiful home. Live that magazine lifestyle. Admired her ambition back then. She wasn't shy about what she wanted. Liked that she was upfront about it. We dated for about a year before marriage. During that time, I was climbing corporate ladder. Claire still working at the store. She was really good at her job. Loved meeting interesting people. Stayed on top of fashion trends. Got free merchandise sometimes. Things got more serious between us. She started talking about quitting. Said she didn't see herself as just a sales girl forever. Wanted something more out of life. I was cool with it. Making enough to support both of us easily. Wanted her to chase her dreams. Got married in a fancy ceremony in Miami. Claire quit her job right after. Said she was ready for bigger things. Called retail work beneath her now. Didn't think much of it at the time. Just happy to provide for her. Thought I was being a good husband. Making sure she didn't worry about money or dealing with demanding work. Looking back, that's when things started changing. First changes were subtle. She wanted to upgrade her wardrobe. Said it needed to match her new life. Seemed reasonable at first, but her taste quickly got expensive. Wasn't interested in regular nice clothes anymore. Only wanted top designer brands. Versace, Fendi, Hermes. You name it, she had to have it. What started as occasional purchases turned into monthly shopping sprees. Price tags didn't matter to her anymore. Thought it was just a phase, maybe celebrating her new life. But it wasn't temporary. Became her whole identity. Started posting everything online. Pictures of expensive outfits, designer handbags, fancy restaurant dinners, everything perfectly staged, like a magazine spread. Trying to look elite, even though we weren't quite there. Sure, we were comfortable, but not swimming in money. Got really into charity events. Started joining social clubs. Thought it was good at first. Said it was about giving back, building connections, but noticed something different. She cared more about being seen than actually helping. Spent hours getting ready, making sure outfit was Instagram-worthy. Then just networked all night. Barely knew half the people there. Just chasing validation instead of genuine connections. Should have seen the warning signs earlier. Claire started looking down on former coworkers. Used to talk about loving her job at the store. Said she was close to everyone there. After quitting, acted like they were beneath her. Would say things like, "Can you believe they still work there? I could never go back to that life." Started criticizing me too. Small things at first, subtle comments. Always about my appearance, even though I was the one who always cared about style. Would say, "You should get a better watch. Time to upgrade is your car." Not directly rude, but comparing me to her new rich friends. Another red flag was the secrecy. She used to tell me everything, all her plans and schedule. Now just vague mentions. Meeting a friend for lunch? No details. When I asked who, she'd change the subject or brush it off completely. Didn't think much about it then, but it planted doubts. Looking back now, all the dots connect. Claire had always been ambitious, but something changed. Ambition turned to entitlement. Wasn't the woman I fell for anymore? More focused on status. Then our life together? Already losing her. Just didn't know how bad it would get. Here's where it gets interesting. Claire was always better with technology. Had one of those Amazon Alexa devices. She used it for everything. I barely touched it. Just for timers sometimes. Or playing music while working. She treated it like her personal assistant. Used it for everything. Grocery lists. Reminders. Planning her events? Never thought much about it. That little device would expose everything. It was a Friday evening. Claire said she had a late charity meeting. Nothing unusual about that. She was involved with several organizations. Always talking about how important her work was. Left around 8 p.m. wearing some expensive dress, hair and makeup perfect, like she was going to a gala. Didn't question it. Figured she wanted to impress people. I was on the couch, just scrolling through my phone, when Alexa suddenly chimed. Reminder notification. Meeting with Nathan at 9 p.m. at the Palm. I froze. The Palm was high-end. Been there for business dinners, upscale steakhouse. Not a charity meeting spot. And who was Nathan? Never heard that name before. In all her social circles, sat there staring at Alexa. Mind racing with possibilities. Could it be a mistake? Maybe work-related? But why the secrecy? Why hadn't she mentioned Nathan? Then remembered something. Knew the manager at the Palm. Let's call him Tommy. He'd helped me before. Got me last-minute reservations for clients. Still had his number. Called him without thinking. Hey Tommy, weird favor to ask? Tried keeping my voice casual. My wife might be at the Palm tonight. Just need to know if she's actually there. Tommy hesitated. Everything okay? Not really, I admitted. If you see her, let me know. Maybe take a picture if you can. Just need to know what's happening. Another pause. All right, I'll keep an eye out. What's she wearing? Described her dress. Tommy said he'd call if he spotted her. Hung up and started pacing. Living room felt too small. Didn't know what to think. Part of me hoped it was nothing. Deep down already knew. Around 9:30 my phone buzzed. It was Tommy. She's here, he said. With some guy. Younger guy. Stomach dropped to my feet. Tommy sent a picture. There was Claire. Sitting across from this guy. Couldn't be older than late 20s. Had that douchebag look. Rolled up sleeves. Flashy watch. Smug grin. Like he owned the place. Claire was laughing. Leaning in close. Happier than I'd seen her in years. Want me to keep taking pictures? Yeah, get whatever you can. Next 20 minutes. Tommy sent more photos. Even a short video. Showed them leaving together. Walking close. Hands brushing. Claire smiling like everything was perfect. Felt sick to my stomach. Next day, couldn't shake the images. Kept seeing Claire with that guy. Every time I closed my eyes. Remembered all the signs. The secretive behavior. The criticisms. How distracted she'd been. It all made sense now. Knew I needed more than photos. Had to play it cool for now. Claire came home that night, acting like nothing happened. Told me about the charity meeting. Even made up fake details. I nodded along, pretending to listen. Inside I was boiling. Things really started coming together. Past hoping it was a misunderstanding. Between Tommy's photos from the Palm and all the breadcrumbs Claire left. Knew something was definitely up. Wanted undeniable proof. Needed ironclad evidence. Before making any moves, that's when I hired the PI. Never done anything like that before. Figured he was the professional. Just had to let him do his thing. Gave him everything I knew. Claire's schedule. Places she liked to go. All the info about Nathan. PI started finding dirt immediately. Within a week, he had a file. The kind that makes your blood boil. Packed with photos. Detailed reports. Receipts of everything. Showed it wasn't just a one-time thing. This was a full-blown affair. Going on for months. First, there were dozens of photos. Claire and Nathan meeting up. At fancy restaurants. Walking hand in hand. Sitting in parks laughing. Like they had no worries. Pictures of them leaving hotels. Looking way too comfortable. Nothing innocent about it. Then came all the receipts. Claire had been paying for everything. Every dinner. Every hotel stay. Even bought him gifts. PI tracked down a purchase. At some high-end men's store. She bought Nathan a designer watch. Cost more than my first car. All of it with my money. Every swipe of her card. Every dollar spent. Came from accounts I built. PI dug even deeper. Found Nathan's social media. Guy was a total piece of work. Wannabe influencer. Thought he was hot stuff. Few thousand followers. Posts full of shirtless selfies. Cringe motivational quotes. Pictures from clubs. Didn't even have a real job. Living it up on my dime. Had no problem spending my money. Couldn't believe the audacity. Here I was working my ass off. Providing comfortable life for Claire. She was using it to bankroll this loser. Whole thing was unbelievable. Nathan was at least 10 years younger. Then Claire, judging by his posts. Type who thought he'd be famous. Hadn't done anything to earn it. Worked as a bartender at some trendy cocktail place downtown. Where Claire started networking, more I learned about him. More ridiculous it seemed. Claire, who only ate at fancy places, only wore designer everything. Running around with this guy. Living in a studio apartment. Making TikToks about hustle culture. Couldn't even afford Olive Garden. Not just insulting, it was pathetic. By now had all the proof needed. PI's file was solid. No way Claire could talk her way out. But didn't want private confrontation. That would be too easy. Claire lived for her image. Loved being seen as perfect wife. Elegant charity woman. Had it all together? If she wanted to play that game, everyone would see the truth. Started planning my next move. not just about catching her. Had to make sure she couldn't escape easily. For the next week, played dumb husband. Pretended everything was normal. Claire kept her usual routine, acting like nothing was wrong. Still leaving for charity events, coming back late, always with elaborate stories about people she met, connections she made. I nodded along, pretending to believe. Inside was seething. Knew she was still seeing Nathan. PI kept tracking them. Met up at least twice that week. Once for dinner, once for drinks at his bar. PI even got a photo. Claire kissing him in parking lot. In his beat-up Honda. Wasn't even shocked anymore. Just more proof of what I knew. One night, Claire came home. Casually mentioned shopping. Looking for new dress. For upcoming charity gala. Being all smug about it. Talking about making impressions. How her circle had standards. Took everything not to laugh. Here she was acting superior. While I had folder of evidence, ready to destroy her world. Decided not to wait longer. Proof was piling up. Time to make my move. Couldn't just confront privately. Claire spent years building image. Perfect wife. High society queen. Woman everyone envied. Decided her downfall needed audience. Wanted spotlight? I'd give her one. Started planning the party. Week after PI gave me everything. Invited everyone who mattered to her. Old co-workers from clothing store. Ones she looked down on. Members of her charity board. Women from her social circles. The ones who worshipped her. These people thought Claire was untouchable. Ones she loved impressing. Invited some of my friends too. Needed backup if things got heated. Told everyone it was celebration of Claire's amazing charity work. And our marriage? Easy to convince them. Her circle loved any excuse to dress up, drink expensive wine on someone else's tab. Meanwhile, worked with lawyer, getting divorce papers ready. Wanted everything finalized. Before the party happened, no room for manipulation. No escape routes for Claire. Night of the party arrives. Claire in her element. Spent hours getting ready. Parading around house. Expensive dress flowing. Designer heels clicking. Making sure everything perfect. Asked if I was excited about party. Had to bite my tongue. Oh, I'm definitely excited. Guests started arriving. Claire absolutely glowing. Perfect hostess mode activated. Greeting everyone at door. That signature charming smile. Making sure drinks flowing. Chatting with all her admirers. Women who idolized her. Watching her soak it all in. Almost entertaining. Once everyone settled in, drinks in hand, time for my toast. Claire looked over, smiling expectantly. Thinking I'd praise her. Thank you all for coming. Room quiets down. Tonight's a special night. Want to celebrate the truth? Because sometimes truth has funny way of coming out. Room goes silent. Claire's smile starts faltering, giving me confused look. Trying to figure out my meaning? Too late for her now. PI's folder was my trump card. Ready to use it. Pulled out folder. And small projector remote. Click first button. Image appears on wall. Photo of Claire and Nathan. Holding hands at the palm. Room erupts in whispers. Gasps everywhere. This point to photo is Claire, my loving wife, with Nathan, a bartender. Been seeing him for months? Click remote again. Video starts playing. Footage of them leaving hotel. Looking way too comfortable, relaxed and laughing. Like they owned the world. Keep going through evidence. Show all the receipts. Dinners. Hotel stays. Gifts she bought him. All with my money. Even showed Alexa screenshots. Their little meeting reminders. Claire frozen in place. Face white as sheet. Opens mouth to speak. Nothing comes out. Are you kidding me? One of her charity friends speaks up. Turns to Claire in disbelief. Is this for real? Claire tries defending herself. It's not what it looks like. Cut her off immediately. Save it. Evidence speaks for itself. Her old co-workers whispering, clearly enjoying the show. Hear one say, karma's a bitch. Claire looks around desperately, searching for allies. Nobody comes to her defense. Even closest friends too stunned. Drop final bomb. Already filed for divorce. Nothing left to say. Claire storms out, completely humiliated. Don't try stopping her. Damage already done. Party doesn't end though. Most guests stay, finishing their drinks, gossiping about what happened. Charity friends especially vocal. Can't believe she'd do this? Always thought she was fake. Old co-workers having time of their lives. One comes up to me. Handled that better than I would have. She always thought she was better than us. By end of night, feeling relieved. Months of carrying this weight, trying to figure out what was happening. Now everything in open. Claire's facade shattered. No going back now. After party chaos subsided, next step was clear. Get Claire out of my life for good. Divorce process went smoother than expected. Thanks to one key decision made years ago. The prenup. When we got engaged, I insisted on prenuptial agreement. Tough conversation at the time. Claire pushed back hard. Don't you trust me? If we're getting married, why need something so transactional? But I stood my ground. Explained it wasn't about trust, about protecting both of us. If things ever went wrong, worked hard for my money, wasn't going to risk it. She finally signed it. Probably thought it wouldn't matter. Convinced we'd be together forever. Must have thought it was just formality, something I'd forget about. Fast forward to now. Smartest decision I ever made. Morning after party. Started throwing her things in bags. Didn't wait for her to come back. Didn't want to hear her pleading. Not interested in excuses. Met with my lawyer. Already laid groundwork for divorce. Before the confrontation, just had to put things in motion. Lawyer filed papers, including all evidence of infidelity, photos, receipts, PI's entire report, everything documented. Claire got served few days later. Didn't warn her it was coming. Can only imagine her shock. Opening that envelope, she didn't call right away. Surprising, actually. Figured she was in denial, or planning her next move. When she finally called, classic Claire performance. First came the crying, begging for forgiveness, saying it was just a mistake. We could work through it. When I didn't budge, she flipped the script. Suddenly, I was the villain. For filing divorce. Accused me of humiliating her, setting her up to look bad. In front of everyone, kept my cool through it all. Same response every time. Talk to my lawyer. That's when she tried fighting prenup. Her lawyer argued she deserved more. Claimed she sacrificed career for me. Said quitting clothing store job was for my benefit. I owed her compensation. For all her hard work in marriage, my lawyer shut that down fast. Evidence of her lavish spending, combined with affair, gave her zero leverage. She wasn't supporting me, just draining my accounts. Judge wasn't impressed. With her arguments, like watching her climb greased pole. In the end, Claire got nothing, just personal belongings. Small settlement from prenup. Barely enough to cover. Basic expenses for few months. Laughable compared to her lifestyle. I kept everything else. The house, the car, all savings, even furniture and appliances. No drawn-out battle. No messy back and forth. Prenup made everything clear. Not a single loophole for her to exploit. Whole process surprisingly quick. From filing to finalization, just few months total. Think it went fast because Claire couldn't afford to drag it out. Without my money, couldn't get expensive lawyer or lengthy legal battles. When divorce finalized, felt weight lifting off. Past few months of lies. Betrayal. Stress, finally gone. Claire no longer my problem. Even after divorce finalized, Claire kept pushing her luck, emailed me multiple times, accusing me of being heartless, said I was punishing her for a mistake, called me selfish, claimed I ruined her life. Truth is, she ruined her own life, made her choices, now living with consequences. Didn't respond to any emails? No point anymore. Relationship ended moment she chose Nathan. You'd think she'd learn by now. But life had more wake-up calls. Watching her fall from grace, both satisfying and surreal, started hearing bits and pieces about what Claire was up to through mutual acquaintances. First thing she tried, going back to clothing store, where we first met. Must have thought she could return. Pick up where she left off. Got rude awakening instead. Store manager turned her down flat. Word about party and affair spread. Nobody wanted to hire her. Manager told mutual friend. Claire's reputation was toxic. Didn't want the drama. She'd burned bridges. Didn't even know existed. As for Nathan, didn't stick around long. After money dried up, PI's reports were right about him. Guy who coasted on looks and charm. Jumping between sugar mamas. Claire just another stepping stone. Heard through grapevine. Claire tried reaching out to him. After divorce, he ghosted her completely. No calls, no texts, nothing. She'd funded his lifestyle for months. Moment she couldn't keep up. Moved on to next target. Wonder if she ever realized how little she meant to him, or too delusional to see it. Without Nathan. Without my financial support, Claire's life fell apart completely. Ended up renting tiny apartment on outskirts of Miami, far from upscale neighborhoods. She used to frequent, nothing glamorous. All she could afford, with small settlement, and whatever she got, from selling designer items. Speaking of which, another blow to her ego? Claire loved luxury items, handbags, shoes, jewelry. Forced to sell everything, just to make ends meet. Heard she tried selling handbag. Back to boutique she shopped at. They lowballed her. She had no choice. Had to take whatever offered. One of most bizarre moments happened. Few months after divorce. Just minding my own business at home? Knock at my door. Open it. Nathan standing there. Didn't recognize him at first. Looking rough. Usual cocky attitude gone. Replaced by desperation. Hey man, he starts, scratching back of his head. Can we talk? Cross my arms. Lean against doorframe. What do you want? Nathan launches into rambling apology. Claims didn't know Claire was married. When they first started seeing each other, says she told him we were separated. That I was emotionally abusive. Laughable considering who Claire really was. Says Claire promised him money. My money specifically. Now that she's broke, he's struggling. Has audacity to ask if I could help him. Since she dragged both of us into this. Laugh in his face. You've got some nerve coming here? Made your choices. Now deal with consequences. Don't ever come back. Slam door in his face. Fact, he thought I'd give him money. Absolutely hilarious. Just as entitled as Claire. Had zero sympathy. Meanwhile, Claire wasn't done. Trying to crawl back into my life. Called and texted several times. Begging for second chance. Said she made a mistake. That she missed us. Tried guilt tripping me. Saying she was lost without me. Didn't know how to move forward. Worst was when she showed up. Unannounced at my house. Open door. Find her standing there. Looking disheveled. Crying. Says she wants to talk. Just needs one chance. To explain herself. Don't let her in. Don't even consider it. You made your bed. Now lie in it. Close door in her face. Last time saw her in person. Over next few months, Claire's downfall became talk of our old social circle. Went from glamorous center of attention to cautionary tale. People who used to worship her started distancing themselves, not wanting drama association. Her charity friends replaced her. Women in social club stopped inviting her to events. Every now and then, someone asks if heard from her. Just shake my head. Say nope. Claire's life now shadow of past. Woman who flaunted designer lifestyle. Acted above everyone else, now scraping by. Trying to hold on to dignity. No longer queen of social circles. She's the story everyone whispers about. As for me, I'm at peace. Learned a lot from this experience. Biggest takeaway is simple. Entitlement and greed destroy you. If you let them, Claire built life on appearances. When facade crumbled, I had nothing left.